how to create a weird alien shape in Painter using liquid metal. Firstly, key thing is window, and go to the layers and also the media library and make certain you've got patterns, because what I want to do, I want to capture this current image as a pattern. Obviously it isn't a pattern, but it's a pattern that I'm going to create and define. Right side menu of patterns, then go to capture pattern. And I'm going to use that as a source, give it a name, and then click OK. I'm going to use it as a source for an alien design. And you could actually animate this design as well, because the dynamic plugins, they're layers. You could just make multiple layers and then just move each layer, each bit of the design very subtly. Because it's still live, you can modify each time. And then you could just animate those layers. So liquid metal, that's at the bottom of the layers panel. And you've got this panel. And I'm going to use the circular drop feature. I'm not going to use the brush, etc. So circular drop. Now once you've actually created your design, don't touch any of the settings, because this state makes it completely wrong. So just totally keep the settings the same. Those settings, fine, you can modify them before you start, but as soon as you start, don't modify them then. The rendering, I'm using a clone source, and that's the key thing because it's the pattern, uses the pattern. And obviously a large document like that with different, and also you can modify the amount. Now you can modify that later. That doesn't matter. You can modify that at any point. But as soon as you applied the design, don't start tweaking the settings. Because as soon as you click OK, what will happen, it'll redefine itself and it'll put it back in a way that's not what you want. So I'm just going to go with those settings at the moment. And you can, like I say, there's the design there. You can obviously see the design there, but I don't want that. I want the amount to be approximately about in the middle, so you can sort of, so it smooths out. So it's a very smooth effect, something like that. Now, of course, I could use a gradient, any photos as the source image. And what I can also do, I can move that blob around, that drop. But also what I can do, I can add another drop to it. So I'll just quickly draw another drop, and you can see that droplet blended in with the existing drop. Because it's the one that's selected by that move feature, the other drop wasn't selected. What you can do, you can hold down the Alt or Option key and drag. And each time that drop will be pulled away from the existing drop. So you can see what you can do. You can create some very quick legs for your alien creature. And of course you can modify the amount. Like I say, don't go to the settings. Now you've got this. If you modify the settings, as soon as you click OK, it will make a bit of a hash of it once it finishes. I'm not certain why, but that's the way it works. So you can just drag out each time, hold down the Alt or Option key and drag. And that blob or drop can be pulled up and moved to any position because you're using the move. You can see that it's the last item in that panel. So you can create an arm or shoulder. And of course, once you've got these droplets, what you can do, you can select the droplets and then you can move them. So if you actually create, obviously this is created on a layer, this is a dynamic plugin layer. What you can do, you can duplicate that layer and then just move a bit of the arm. Now, of course, probably easier if you then, the lower layers, you of course maybe make the opacity lower so you don't sort of make it very confusing. But you can just then keep dragging these droplets out and you can move them around. So you can like make the head wobble backwards and forwards in an animation. Again, another droplet pulled out there. Again, holding down the Alt or Option key. So you've got your alien shape there. And of course, obviously I've got that pattern, but you could have used any other pattern. I say it could be a basic image, it could be type, whatever. You can also use the erase. The erase initially is defined quite large. You can see the size there. Now I don't want that. So you can reduce it down. Now you can change the settings there for the size for that. and just add another one. Unfortunately, weirdly, it doesn't reuse that, so it just chops it out again. It goes back to a default. I don't know why that is the case. So you have to reset it again, make it smaller again. And so you've got now 2 eyes for your alien. So there, an alien shape. Very quick and easy. And of course, like I say, you could, if you want, you can animate it. It's just a layer, which you can just click OK once you've done that. And if you're not happy with it, you can always click the clear and then start again. But again, don't touch the settings, particularly for all the various blobs or the drops. Because otherwise what happens, as soon as you click OK, you'll suddenly find that shape breaks apart. Well, I found that anyway. So what you can do, you can go down to the layer tool there, the selector, and you can move it around. It's just a standard layer, but it's a droplet layer. It's a dynamic plugin layer. And you can see each time you duplicate it, you can hold down the Alt or Option key to create multiple copies. And of course, those copies can then be modified. You can double click on the entry and then change little bits of the droplets. Just maybe move them, shifting slightly, so as if the leg or arm is moving. And of course you can apply effects if you wish. As soon as you apply effects, like that drop shadow, that's that. But before anything like that, it's still a liquid metal floater. More dynamic plugin, to be honest. And also you can resize it, of course. Sadly, in Mac, my Mac version anyway, 2015, I haven't got the animation features. Used to have animation features in Painter. Now you can do that on Windows, but for some weird reason, the Mac versions have never, or maybe they have now, I don't know, with 2021, received the animation features again, which is a pity because I would love to see animation again in Painter. And of course you can apply other effects, tonal control, so you can recolor it if you wish as well. Of course at this point it's no longer a dynamic plugin. So you can create some very unusual shapes and designs using this feature. Like I say, it's a fun approach for the tool. You may obviously have thousands of other uses for it, but it can be used to create these alien creatures. Hope you found this tutorial of interest. Please subscribe to the Graphicxtras channel, always adding new tutorials about Painter, Photoshop, Illustrator and many others. Also please add some comments, a dislike or like. Thank you much.